Welcome to the UFFS Podcast with Darren Bates and Larry Fisher. Shining a spotlight on the most realistic fantasy sports platform ever. If it happens in Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports, you'll find out here. UFFS, you own the game.
And welcome to the Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports Podcast number 18, of course, proudly broadcasting on the Ultimate Fantasy Sports Network, or UFSN as we like to call it. I want to send a very special thank you to DM Productions, who is, of course, handling things behind the scenes for us. And I want to say hello to Fish. How are you doing, Fish?
Doing good, Darren. We've had a lot of exciting episodes through 17, but I'm pretty confident we can say episode number 18 is going to raise the bar, much like the expansion franchise raised the bar on evaluations or value of franchises within the Ultimate Fantasy Hockey League. So this is a loaded show, and I feel pretty confident saying it's going to be the best episode yet.
Yeah, this is going to be really exciting. A lot of things we're going to get to today. But, before we get into anything or even set up the agenda, I want to just say, how much I am loving that brand new podcast on the UFSN network that Dean Millard has got going. I know you're the insider on it, called UFHL Now. I grab my snacks, whether it's a bowl of popcorn or a bag of chips. I sit in my favorite chair, and I just love that podcast. So good job, guys.
Yeah, no, it's a great production by Dean. It really brings the Ultimate Fantasy Hockey League to life. And again, we want to be the most realistic fantasy sports platform. And how better can you do it than have a show dedicated to the league and cover all the news? And Dean literally hits on all the hot topics every week. So congratulations on UFHL Now, Dean. Episode 2 was better than episode 1, and it's just upward from here.
Yeah, the only problem with episode 2 was I got suplexed and then the Hulk leg drop by technology. I was totally owned by technology, so it didn't get out in time, and that's something that I want to keep going. But it's so much fun. I mean, the comments and compliments that I'm getting on our production, Larry, from the rest of the owners, they're absolutely loving it. They love when we mention it. They love the professionalism. And listen, we have the best fantasy platform in the world. We might as well cover it like it is.
Yeah, I love it, guys. Great job. It's my go-to. It's my go-to podcast. So keep up the good work. A lot of name drops happen, and I'm going to drop a name right now. I made sure I checked my my hair in the mirror because, Harrison of Ruby ISS Scouting, he has some comments about my hair. So, I'm using this special shampoo that makes my silver hair shine up a little bit better. So I hope he appreciates it, and I'm sure we'll hear something about it in the Telegram chat, but we'll see how that goes. We have some very special guests joining us today. We've got Darwin and Drew, the proud new owners of franchise number 32. We're going to get to know them on a little bit of a deeper level. They're going to have a special announcement to share with us as well. They're filling their chairs in the front office. We'll see if we can get that person to join us. And a couple of contest winners. Our Guess the Most Popular Answer contest winner from the @UFHL League poll. And we're going to do a draw today live for our Guess the Sport Answer. And we're going to announce what that sport is today. And that's going to come up later in the podcast. But we'll get to Darwin and Drew right after this.
This is the UFFS Podcast, Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports, where you own the game.
All right. Well, you know what? So extremely, extremely happy, excited, and proud to have the brand new owners of franchise number 32. Man, I can't wait to put a name on this franchise, but I know it's sure to come. We've got Darwin A. We've got Drew M. from different parts of Saskatchewan. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, first of all, congratulations, guys. You now own the game. You know how long I've wanted to say that. So you guys are proud owners of, part of the game of the UFHL and also the UFAHL. $10,000 USD, brand new benchmark, of course, in the UFFS. So pretty excited about that. and no rest for the wicked. You guys, you got to get to work. You're going to fill some chairs in the franchise number 32 headquarters, I think, Darwin. You got some work to do there, right?
Yeah, we sure do. When we're excited to be doing it, and we've looked after some of the things already, but there's many more to come, and it's an exciting time for me. I've been involved and watched hockey for all my life.
Cool. You know what? I think these are the kind of people we look for, of course, in an elite fantasy platform that we have. And the other thing I want to let you guys know is that we have a lot of people that have been waiting patiently for these new owners to show up. And Drew, I want to ask you a question. I think we connected right after the auction was over, after our live podcast special. And I said, hey, I wonder if your phone has kind of been ringing off the hook. And I think you told me, yeah, I was just about to shut this dang thing off. So you guys are kind of like the fresh meat at a meat market, is the way I look at it. Do you think that kind of makes some sense now?
Well, yeah, there was so much coming in there that first few hours there between Telegram and text messages. And, still, even as today, there's a bunch of people in this group that, we have somewhat connections with. And if we don't, it's through sport or across the country. It was, it was a great reception by all those that were welcoming us in. So it was fun couple days there to begin with. So.
Yeah, no, it's pretty exciting. I'm gonna get Larry to get to some questions here in just a little bit, but I want to ask, and maybe I'll ask Darwin this one. How did you hear about UFFS and UFHL and said that, man, I need to be a part of this?
Well, my partner Drew was the one that started this all. He phoned me and he says, "Hey, we should get involved in this." And I said, "So what is it?" So we spent a few hours on the phone back and forth, looking at the site, everything. Then I got hooked up to the telegraphs and stuff, and people were commenting to me like, "Who's this guy? What's he doing on here?" Stuff. And then we discussed it, and finally I told him, I says, "Well, let's do it. Let's see what we can accomplish." I says, "I'm not sure what the final fee is going to be to get the team, but I says I'm sure it's going to be higher than we expect, because there's a lot of people out there that are interested in this like we are."
Absolutely. Larry, that these guys have a lot of work to do, and you're obviously director of media and communications for UFFS. I'm sure you've got a lot of things going through your head and a lot of questions to ask these guys. And I know you already know them a little bit, but what's going through your mind?
I think what's going through my mind mostly is just how small of a world it is. I personally didn't know Drew or Darwin when they were bidding. I was just following along as announcing them as the Bartlett Group, and to connect with them afterwards. It was crazy to see how small of a world it was that, Drew essentially played hockey in my backyard, and Darwin, I looked you up on Facebook. We have 3 mutual friends from that part of Saskatchewan. So you guys could have been from anywhere in the world, right? I mean, that's an open auction, and to have it be guys from our neck of the woods was really cool. And for me, just again, being a live broadcast, when we started the hour-long show, the bidding was around $3,000 USD. At the scheduled deadline, it was around $5,000 USD. And then to see it ramp up and the intensity wrap up, I guess, Darwin, for you, what was that like in the moment to be going back and forth in that bidding war all the way up to 10,000?
Well, the higher it went, the more excited I got, because I could see there is an opportunity here to get a franchise, and it's not that we're, on the outside looking in. We were in the middle of it. There was guys that were trying to get it like we were trying to get it, and I just, in my heart, I wanted this. This was something that I've always thought about having, but I've never attempted till, like I mentioned, Drew got me involved, and we started talking, and I says, "Let's do this. Let's this is a passion of mine. 17 years I've been a season ticket holder of the Edmonton Oilers, and I've followed them, and I've followed other teams, and I've gone many hockey games all over the place. So it's it's exciting for me. I still can't believe it's happened, but it's reality.
And it is such a limited opportunity, being there are only 32 franchises in the Ultimate Fantasy Hockey League, and you are essentially, you'll feel like a smaller version of a real NHL owner. Like I said, building out the staff and building the roster from the ground up. This is the last chance to be one of the original 32 to go through the expansion draft. Obviously have some staff, like I said, building out the front office like you would an NHL owner, but to have a team of people working together and just to see it all come together. And again, for you, Drew, I guess sort of the same question to see. There were 7 interested groups. We had bids from 7 different groups, total of 40 bids to emerge victorious and land the expansion franchise at 10,000 USD. I think your first comment was kind of like, now what, right? Like, now we got this. But just talk about what a whirlwind it's been for the first week as franchise owners.
Well, yeah, like I said, the whirlwind was, I was aware of this and missed the opportunity a couple of years ago, helping you guys out when you ran the test or mock draft a few years ago. And, life kind of took me away for a couple of years. And then this, it's like, yeah, let's find a partner. Let's get involved and give us something to talk about and do, especially, part of it was, Darwin, we don't get to see each other. During COVID, let's get online. Let's join this ever growing stuff. So, this sports fantasy league, and this is our connection. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, Drew, I was going to mention it. I would say that time flies when you're having fun, and I think that we've had a lot of fun in this last year. But you realize, you say a few years ago, it really wasn't that long ago when we did that mock draft, when we kind of had the sparkle in our eye of this UFFS thing. It's barely been a year, to be honest. So, we've come a long way in a very short amount of time, and it's incredible. You guys setting the new benchmark at $10,000 USD. I don't know, producer Dean even has that sound effect, and it's not like I always like to be interrupted, but on that live event, there was a sound that was just interrupting us like crazy, and I was so happy to hear it. I don't know if he's going to... There it is. Yeah, we had some interruptions. I absolutely loved it. There was a time at the end there where we couldn't even talk. Yeah, Darwin, and thank to you for making that sound effect go off at the end there nonstop.
Yeah, my sound effect was Drew, bid again. Bid again.
Yeah, I had my finger on the button, so it was all good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was hoping you guys weren't paying attention to the end of that podcast and you were just paying attention to the bidding war that was happening, because you didn't need to be watching us. You just needed to be what was happening on Air Auctioneer, and I'm so thankful you guys did. I was going to ask you, Darwin, so let's delve in just a little bit and get into the meat and potatoes of what makes Darwin click. Obviously, like, you guys don't live in the same place. You're both from Saskatchewan, but you're in Meadow Lake. You own a business there. I don't know what happens when you do something like this and you spend this kind of money on a fantasy league franchise, which is basically unheard of. Do you run down the streets of Meadow Lake and say, guess what? I just got a franchise in the UFFS, UFHL, or what happened? Did you tell some people, some friends, family?
Yeah, no, I did. I phoned a lot of my personal close friends, and they said to me, what did you do? You bought a NHL franchise? I says, no. I says, I've bought a franchise that has come the 32nd team, which is up with Seattle Krakens. Now the UFHL is going to have, they're going to have their fantasy league at another team. And it's open to anybody. Like, anybody can bid it. We bid it. We got it. We're proud to have it. And it's exciting to me. Like, I think about it all the time, every day. And people phone me and they say, can we buy into this company? I says, I don't know. It just depends. But it is exciting. I'm sure there's lots of people now, after they hear about this, they're going to want to get involved. But the thing is, you can't get involved because there isn't any more teams to buy unless you buy an existing from somebody else. And I would be very, very surprised if the owners of those other teams don't bring their prices up to sell. because we've now kind of set a benchmark of $10,000. And I heard reading stuff that they weren't selling that high before. They were $3,000. But it's exciting. It's going to grow. I got a feeling this is a home run. Like, she's going to be good. And I can't wait to get started, because it's to get your, you get to pick your players from brand new. You're not taking somebody else's mistakes or issues. You take your own guys and build your own team.
You know what, Larry? I think that we might have a job for this guy. We might have a job for this guy, Larry, at UFFS headquarters. I like the way you're talking, Darwin.
I was just going to say, I think you'll be the talk of the town in Meadow Lake before long. Alex said, as this takes off, and it's awesome to hear that some people are already willing to invest. And we do foresee most of the franchises being owned by ownership groups. And $10,000 is a lot of money. Maybe you're selling 10% for $1,000 or whatever. At some point, you can bring on more people, and we're seeing that more and more. Existing ownership groups selling shares or stocks in their franchise. So I think that is the direction it's going to go as it grows. And obviously, Darwin, as an Oilers season ticket holder before the Daryl Cates era, you know all about how the Oilers were owned with an ownership group. A lot of guys that were in the oil industry in and around Edmonton, Cal Nichols and company. So it's kind of that type of model for a lot of these franchises. I mean, there are lots of individual owners, but more and more we're seeing the owners become ownership groups and take on investors as well. I mean, in due time, we'll have sponsors and advertisers and stuff attached to these franchises too, as we become more mainstream and it becomes a bigger deal overall. And I do think soon enough, you guys will be the talk of the town, and it'll be a smart investment at that entry point, even though, like you said, it's significantly higher than what franchises were selling for. But just like said, that opportunity to pick your own players, build from the ground up, and really put your own stamp on this, that's going to be exciting for everyone involved. And I know, Drew, we talked a little bit, I think the day after, and just that part of it, that, bringing in a general manager. I know you mentioned you have some guys lined up that are into data and analytics, and will be putting their minds together, and maybe just talk about the team a little bit that you've assembled.
Well, we did actually sit down and did a little bit of titling. So we got Darwin there as our CEO, CFO, owner, and I think I anointed myself as the president. But within it was 48 hours after we had done a little bit exploring, and we hired a GM for the GM head scout. I think you guys are going to meet him here shortly. His name is Brendan Kopp. He's out of Regina. He was in the bidding early. He's going to be our guy. He's just excited about getting in there to pick teams or pick guys and make his teams or make our team. So as of right now, that's what we have to introduce. And yeah, we're excited to. Brendan's going to fit right in. He's another Saskatchewan guy. He got a Rider jersey, so it'll all be good.
Hey, the Rider jersey stuff, that's music to my ears. In fact, I'm sipping some water out of the Rider Cup as we speak, in recognition of Saskatchewan well represented here. We got Darwin in Meadow Lake. We have Drew in Warman, which is just outside of Saskatoon. Brennan, I believe. Oilers. Well, I think Larry will like that a lot. And we've got Brennan in Regina. So headquarters, who knows? I guess you guys will figure that out. It's probably going to be over a computer, which is the way of the world at this moment. But Drew, let's just ask, I'll kind of ask the same question to you. You live in Warman, I guess, just outside of Saskatoon. Did you do a similar thing? Hey, guys, friends, family, I just ran out and I spent $10,000 on a franchise in the UFHL. Did you get the similar type of response, or how did that go?
Well, with COVID, I've been working in my basement mostly, so I did get into some training and told a couple of the other managers around the shop, I'm like, you did what? I'm like, yeah, no, check it out. It's all good. It's a lot of fun. There's, like I said, it's called fantasy, but it's real. I don't know what else much to describe it to these guys, because they thought I was kind of crazy at the beginning of COVID. I bought a golf simulator and we changed one bay of the garage into a driving range. So we've done quite a bit of weird stuff this last year.
That sounds like a lot of fun to me. And you talked about the hiring of the general manager, which we were going to talk about with you guys here, and we will meet him here coming up. Can I ask how did you guys meet? And sorry if I missed it. I don't think I did, but how did you and Darwin how did this come together?
Well, I was an apprentice lineman with Sask Power, and I moved up to Meadow Lake, and Darwin was the local pitcher on the slow pitch Orthodox team, and I guess he thought I could hit dingers, but I proved him wrong. We've just been friends for 25 years now, I guess, and golf and go to hockey games and just have a lot of things in common. So
awesome. That's a great story. And I think Darwin and I have already talked a lot about ball. I know that's a fascination of his. And you guys should know that we're going to grow. It's going to be a lot more than just hockey. And we've got our big reveal coming up here later on this podcast as well. Darwin, I don't know how much we can get into personal details. And, we've talked before this podcast is I introduced myself. You, obviously your last name Osmond, but I know that name from a long time ago when I was growing up in Saskatchewan. And you have a very famous family member.
Yes, I do. He has passed on now, but my Uncle Dick, and my last name it's pronounced Osmond, but it's spelled Assman. And my uncle was on the David Letterman show. He got called up. They talked to him a number of times, and he was getting he worked at a gas station, and they called him the Ass Man, the Gas Man. And it just went bananas. Like it just, people were phoning him and saying, "Do you know this guy?" I says, "Yeah, it's my uncle." They go, "Whatever." I says, "Yeah, his real name is Richard, but we call him Dick." And I says, "Dick Assman, the Gas Man, is my uncle. He's going to the David Letterman show." He was phoned 2 or 3 times by Letterman, and people all over the world knew this name. This guy, was just a phenomenal, nice guy, and it's proud to have had him in my our family, and I had the last name as he did, and no, it's just exciting. I still today. Well, the other day on Friday, somebody says, "Did you know this guy from Regina? He was a gas station guy. His last name was Assman. Do you know that guy?" And I says, "Yeah, that was my uncle." And they go, "No way." So it's proud to have him as my uncle. Too bad he's not around anymore, but it was very exciting.
Yeah, Darwin, I remember seeing him on David Letterman. I had Dick Assman shorts. True, those were my favorite shorts. I wore those things out. They have become a rag now, and I don't even know if I have the rags. It was that long ago, but I proudly wore those things, Dick on the front, Assman on the back, and those were my favorite shorts. I wore them playing slow pitch ball and everything. Larry, you probably remember, a little bit younger than me, but you probably remember Dick Assman being on Letterman as well. And John Elway, I think, was throwing a football to him, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was on.
Yeah, I remember. Go ahead, Darwin.
He was. I remember he was the marshal of the Grey Cup parade, and that was a big deal there to watch him with all the cheerleaders and the limos, and it was pretty exciting to have the guy who was out on South Albert there, I think it was, or East Vic. I can't remember what street his store was on, but yeah, he was all week, whatever hotel or whatever party you went to at Grey Cup, he was there. So it was, he was a legend.
Yeah, I know he's one of the things that excited him a lot was when he was selected to be. There was a bikini contest coming up, and they wanted him to be the head judge, and he could veto anybody. And I didn't know what to do. He says they were all really good looking.
Larry, you probably remember those days. You're a little younger than me, but I'm sure you probably have some memories of that as well.
I think anybody who grew up in Saskatchewan remembers the name Dick Assman. And I was going to say as well, the Grey Cup and the Grand Marshal of the Grey Cup was the memory that stood out for me too, growing up in obviously a Rider family. And like I said, what a small world. All 4 of us me and Darren no longer live in Saskatchewan. I'm out in Kelowna, British Columbia, and Darren's just outside Winnipeg, Manitoba. But we're all born and raised in Saskatchewan, farm boys, me and Darren, growing up on grain farms and in small town Saskatchewan, under 1,000 people population. So just a cool, small world story that you guys became the UFHL franchise owners. And again, the fact that we all come from Saskatchewan, we're all very familiar with the name Dick Assman. And like you said, he's a sort of a global celebrity at his peak when everybody knew him. And like Drew said too, just so cool that you guys managed to find a general manager who's also from Saskatchewan. I know Drew said that the nice thing is he's only a couple hours down the road. You can actually get together and have some beverages and talk about strategy in person, which is, you could have hired a general manager from anywhere, right? So to be able to keep it somewhat local and have somebody from the province as well kind of represent Saskatchewan together, I think that's a really cool way, the way the GM came together. And maybe talk about that, Darwin, because Brennan bid you up. He was one of the aggressive bidders off the start, at least to around that $5,000 mark. So rival bidder, how did he connect with you guys, and how did he end up becoming the general manager of the expansion franchise in the Ultimate Fantasy Hockey League?
Yeah, that impressed me that he was bidding, even though it was against us, but he was bidding. He had interest in it and stuff. And we found out that after the auction and stuff, that who were the people that were bidding against us, and we made contact with him, and we did an interview with him, and we don't think we hired a general manager. We think we hired the best general manager, and he is going to be awesome, do a phenomenal job. He's already just itching to get going. And we're so excited to have him on our team. And it's going to be very, very good. And Drew and me are both impressed that Brendan's coming our direction. And it'll be excellent.
That's cool. Well, guys, I got to tell you that you may or may not know this, and I know you've probably had just a ton of stuff hit you in the side of the head, and that's kind of what happens in UFFS because everything's happening at a mile a minute, and it's a very interactive elite league. But we do have a merchandise store, so when you create your logos, and we no longer have to call you franchise number 32. I assume it's probably not going to stay as that name. You'll come up with something crafty. You will have merchandise available at the UFHL shop. And we had a poll running. It was on our Twitter at UFHL League. And there we see the pictures right now. So I want to congratulate Kyle Roberts of Rock Republic from all the way from Newfoundland is going to be one of the guys you're going to be going up against here. There's a pillow with his logo on it and a blanket with his logo on it. You guys will have the same type of merchandise available, and you can see also on the screen for anybody out there that that's our merch store. It's basically something you have to copy and paste. It's a lot of typing, but maybe you can type better than me and get it right. But, basically what we did is we asked for the most popular answer on our poll. What do you think the expansion franchise is going to sell for? And we were looking for the right answer as to the popular answer in the poll, not what the franchise sold for. And I'm going to tell you guys, interestingly enough, the most popular guess was between $2,000 and $4,000. But the second most popular was over $8,000. So it was kind of close, and the in-between had the smallest percentage in the poll. So you guys knocked that one out of the park. People did not guess correctly, but they were close. And I want to congratulate Kyle Roberts for winning that prize. And it's going to be pretty interesting to rest your head on a pillow of whatever you call it, blanket. Man, we got bikinis, we got flip-flops. The list goes on and on and on. You'll be able to dress up everybody at Ace Hardware there in or not Ace Hardware, Ace Building Supplies, I guess it is in Meadow Lake. Darwin, do I have that correct?
Yeah. Ace Lumber Building Supplies, Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan. We're a Castle franchise.
Absolutely. You'll be able to dress them all up in whatever your franchise is going to be. Drew, do you have anything in mind? Are you going to be the logo guy, or who's going to put this together?
Well, my 16-year-old son, he's been scrambling away on different jersey websites and emblems, and we were still debating on the way home this afternoon in the truck, but I don't think we're ready yet to give too many hints. So got to make sure that I know Darwin's a little colorblind. He won't admit it, but we got to work through some jerseys there to make sure it fits what we need. So, and in worst case scenario, we'll get the 16-year-old boy to change our Twitter page and get it all looking good when we're ready to go.
Yeah, we're probably down to three choices, which I sent out a sheet with all the names of the other teams to a bunch of my friends, and I says, hey, what are we going to call ourselves? And there's some good names come back. Like I told them, if we pick you, we'll give you a jersey. And they're still coming in and stuff, and I'm excited. Like it's our choice of what we pick, and like today we changed a couple things and thoughts just because we can, because we still can do this. and there's no rush that we got to, like Drew says, there's no rush we got to have this done today. He says take a couple more days, finalize it, and then when we come out with it, we want it to be very good. So we don't look odd amongst all the other 31 teams. We want to be so that we look like part of the league.
Well, I have a vision of two Brinks trucks racing down the highway. If we talk about Red Army and Luc Grenier and stuff like that, and that's kind of where my mind's going on this thing. I can't wait for you guys to get involved. Pick your team, do what you got to do, and I like how you're thinking on spreading the love around the community and with friends and family like that. Larry, one thing we always do, and I don't know, I probably didn't give you guys very much prep time on this, maybe not enough, but you should usually have an answer in your mind. Larry, we always ask the one question to get to know everybody a little bit better, and it's that, kind of sit down with whoever question. I'll let you pose the question.
Yeah, we always ask when we're meeting the new owners, or when we do a Meet the Owners segment, we say if you could have dinner with one sports figure, past or present, alive or gone, who would it be and why? Who would you choose to sit down and have a dinner with? And a sports figure, an idol in sports, who would you want to? Whose brain would you want to pick?
That's a good question. There's so many names. Drew, you go first.
Well, I was thinking a political character to begin with, but you know what? I think a guy I would like to have supper with is Terry Bradshaw. That guy, he's old now, and he just doesn't stop. He just keeps going and going and going. And some of the stories that he would be able to tell about whole sorts of people, from country music to football to cattle, whatever that other guy was in. He was in every business in North America, I think, and probably went broke at every one of them. But he's still on the TV and telling stories.
What about you, Darwin?
Now it's still a good question to me. I don't know. I would probably pick somebody like Johnny Cash. Just impressed with that guy. If I could have Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley sit down and have some lunch with me, that'd make a lot of dreams come true. I always thought that these guys they had tough lives, and never got a chance to see either of them. So that's what I'd say. Sports figure, I don't know. I'd probably say Wayne Gretzky and his dad, Walter.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And, of course, with the recent passing of Walter, I think that one hits pretty close to home. So that's great choices. And Johnny Cash, well, I think when we have our first UFFS, UFHL get-together, I think we know what we're going to request the band to play, Lair. I think that's maybe a little Folsom Prison Blues or something like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, guys, I want to thank you very much for joining us today on this podcast. Great to have our expansion franchise owners and meet you personally right off the bat. I know you've taken time out of your day to join us, and I appreciate the fact that you did. We're going to, of course, you made the announcement, so thankful you did, and waited here on our podcast of your GM, Brendan Kopp, and we're going to have him here just in a little bit. You know, what occurred to me today as I was thinking, be kind of cool if we played that newlywed game. I don't know if you guys remember that, where you kind of ask someone some questions and you put headphones on the one person and they're off site and they don't know what the answers were. Then you bring them in and ask them the same question to see if you guys all think alike. I thought that would be kind of cool, but we're not going to do that to you. Okay. So, but I want to thank you guys for joining us. And if you have any last words, maybe I'll let Drew go first and have Darwin finish off. Please share.
Oh, it's looking forward to it. We're going to have some fun and watch this league grow. And for part of me was the investment, in the crypto and learning more about that and the UFF and following it for a few years. It's on the verge of blowing up, I think was a term one of my buddies had said here. So it's going to be fun to watch the ride and watch Brendan do all the hard work getting his players. So it's going to be some fun. Thanks
Darwin?
again, guys.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, kind of what Drew had said, but this is it's a dream come true. We started it from just bidding on stuff, and my buddy Drew says, "I think we bid high enough. That's enough. Let's shut her down." I says, "We're not shutting her down until we get this team." And he says, he said, we can go on a pretty good holiday. I says, yeah, but if we can get this hockey team and be our own franchise, number 32, you can't take it away from us. And holidays come, holidays will go. And I'm excited for this to start and really excited about our GM. Brendan's going to do a phenomenal job. And he is an Oilers fan too, so that helped making the decision. But that's thanks, guys, for the opportunity. Great meeting you both, and I'm sure we'll talk many, many more times. But this is it's a great day for me, and great day for Drew, and I'm sure a great day for Brendan also. And thank you for the opportunity and letting us join the league.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Great to have you on the show, and thanks for the announcement of your new GM. And we're going to test his knowledge and get to know him on a little deeper level right after this.
Time for a quick lineup change, but Bates and Fish, they'll be back right away with today's guest.
Well, very excited to have the general manager now joining us of franchise number 32. Of course, not named yet, but franchise number 32, Brennan Kopp. Brennan, we just talked to your bosses, had a great conversation, and they said all kinds of things about you. No, actually, I got to tell you, it was really, really good. But welcome to the podcast, Brennan. How are you doing?
Good, Darren. Thanks. I hope it is good things. I hope. Excited to be part of the UFHL, and happy to be here.
Yeah, you know what? So there's a lot of UF different things within our setup, and we struggle with some of those sometimes as well. So no worries on that. So let's just get into this a little bit. So you were bidding on the expansion franchise as well. Of course, they obviously went a little bit higher than maybe what you wanted to go, but they must have seen something new. You were interested. How did they search you out? How did this all come together on the GM thing?
Yeah, I was bidding on the new expansion franchise, and through about a week or so, I had seen that I might have had a real shot at it, but then, it didn't come to pass. But I had met Drew and Darwin through once I joined the Telegram. I was talking to a few GMs, or a few owners, I should say, and they had seen that I was interested in becoming a GM in the league, and Tony actually passed my name on to Drew, and we talked for a couple hours, and we decided that, we are on the same page on how to, start this franchise and how to, extract value from the other teams in the league.
Well, Darwin was pretty darn excited when he was talking about you. And of course, you're going to see that when you have a chance to watch this show. And I can tell that you guys have the province of Saskatchewan well covered, Darwin being, up north in Meadow Lake, Drew in Saskatoon, and then you a little further south in Regina. So good Saskatchewan representation there. We're happy about that. But let me ask you, UFFS is not real old. It's been around for about a year, and the UFHL as well. Has it been on your periphery for a little while?
I'd say about 2 weeks or so. I had actually seen it on Twitter. So I'm not sure who it was, but somebody had retweeted the expansion bid, and then I did a little bit of research on it and a little bit of research on NFTs, and I thought it was just a really good idea, and then did a couple bids, and then Larry had sent me the invite to the Telegram, and I just, the more and more I started looking into it, the more excited I got, and to be given the opportunity to GM the 32nd franchise, expansion franchise is an opportunity I couldn't pass up.
And how cool is that, Brendan? You're essentially the equivalent of Ron Francis right now. You're going to go through the exact same timeline as the Seattle Kraken with all the same rules. I'm sure you've been studying up throughout, like I said, preparing to bid for the franchise. But since now you're hired the GM, I'm sure the strategizing has already begun. I know you're registered as a scout right off the bat. You wasted no time getting into the scouting side, but just talk about, obviously you're not going to spill the beans on your exact plans, but what's some of the strategy, initial strategy?
Well, early on, I've been going through a few of the rosters and just, kind of checking out who, just in my opinion, who their protected lists may be, and maybe just identifying targets on guys that, potentially who we like a lot, and maybe, hopefully their owner now doesn't as much, and maybe we can pull off, a couple guys, because the way I see it is the guys that we take in this expansion draft are going to have to lead this team in its inaugural season and, into the future.
For sure. And obviously you do have that window between, March 1st when the auction ends until July 17th when the protected lists are due to be submitted. You have that window to sort of wheel and deal and get to network with all the other owners and potentially make some trades. I know Vegas made trades with 10 of the 30 NHL franchises when they joined the NHL, 1 in every 3. So is that sort of step one? Now that your name's out there, everybody knows, hey, Brendan Kopp's the new GM of the expansion franchise. I'm sure your inbox will be blowing up by tonight or tomorrow, but is that sort of now it's the process of getting to know the rest of the league and like Ron Francis is kind of identifying targets, but also maybe some guys that would be protected, feeling them out on what it would take to get a certain player that maybe you want that looks like it will be protected?
Yeah, looking like, forming good relationships with other GMs in the league is going to be something that's a priority for me. Checking in on, every other day or daily on some guys. But kind of almost like Vegas, if they, them getting Jonathan Marchessault, Riley Smith, and, guys from Florida, we're going to look to do that as well. We may look to maybe take on, a contract from a team that might not look a little bit too, what may not look as well to them for maybe if they're in cap trouble or if they're just not a guy that doesn't fit their plans. If we can get a good young prospect or a good young player who is producing on an entry-level deal, that's going to be something that we're going to look to do.
Sounds like you really know your hockey. Are you one of these guys, if we get into personal details a little bit, are you one of these guys that plays in 30 different fantasy leagues? Obviously, you've got some experience, or what's your experience there?
I've in a couple other fantasy leagues, none to this scale, obviously, but, I am in another one that is 20-plus teams, and it's points only, so it's not as much. But no, there is a lot of scouting and, a lot of research that is going to be involved. And so I am in a few other leagues, but, they might have to take a step back when I take full control of this team here.
Yeah, this is elite fantasy. It's pretty serious business. There's definitely some hours put in, manning the phones or the Telegram chat, or usually I think it's DMs in this day and age. So it's going to be pretty exciting. Really, really happy to have you on board. This is one question that we ask everybody that we do have as guests on our program, and I would like to know, just from a personal perspective, if you had the chance to sit down and have a fireside chat with anybody, that you idolize. Alive or not alive, who might that be?
That's a tough question, but so many choices out there. But if I had to pick one, I think it would be Gord Downey. I really like the Tragically Hip, and I believe his passion for music and hockey is something that I want to bring into my life and towards just a lot of things, not just sports, but just the drive to, make the things I'm involved in better.
Absolutely. Great answer. Gord Downey, and a guy that was really trying to make a difference, toward the unfortunate end as well. So yeah, cool answer. Larry, that's our second musical answer that we've had today so far. So that's pretty interesting. I think you guys are going to get along. Yeah,
I think me, Drew, and Darwin, it's crazy, having not known them before this, but this all came together, fairly well, and I'm actually super excited to be a part of it.
Well, congratulations again, Brennan, and thanks for joining today on the show. Sorry, Larry. Go ahead, Larry.
No, I was just going to say we're really excited to have you in the fold, and then, like I said, all the hockey knowledge you bring, I think you're going to fit right in with the group. And the Gord Downey answer, as we said, Darwin. Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley's who he had in mind, but Gord Downey was a hockey fan as well, a big hockey fan. And I see the Roberto Luongo jersey behind you, the Canucks current goalie, Braden Holt. Braden Holt, he's a big Tragically Hip Gord Downey fan as well. So kind of a small world thing there. And Braden Holt, also a small town Saskatchewan guy from Marshall, Saskatchewan. So kind of a cool tie-in, but we're super excited to have you in the fold. Yourself, Drew, Darwin, can't wait for the franchise name. Can't wait to see what you're going to do on the scouting side. And I'll keep, as the insider in the UFHL, I'll have to keep my ear to the ground to see what kind of deals you got cooking up between now and July 17th. So thanks again for joining us, and a big welcome to the league from all 31 current owners. And I'm sure they'll be hitting up your DMs to officially welcome you in the hours and days ahead.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Darren and Larry.
Yeah, thanks, Brennan. So now, obviously, there's some really, really exciting stuff that we need to get to on this podcast as well. And it is that time, Larry, when we need to tell everyone what UFFS is getting into next. And it's going to be coming up after this.
This is the UFFS Podcast, Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports, where you own the game.
seen a number of players cut from the back part of this game, and the results have not been good. Johnny, that's better than most. How about him? That is better than most. Better than most! You can hit that putt 50 times and maybe make it once.
And there you have it, folks. Better than most. We like to be better than most here at UFFS. I've got goosebumps on my goosebumps. I am so excited. The Ultimate Fantasy Golf Association on Twitter, officially as of, at the end of this podcast at UFGA_UFFS. Should be active as soon as we're done here. Get on over there, follow us. And Larry, I am just pumped. That video is great. I don't even know what else to say at this point.
It's so cool to be officially launching our second sport with Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports, and golf was such a good fit. The summer sport of hockey players, right? Every hockey player plays golf, and just the timing with the hockey season ending and the golf season starting, or golf season, into playoff mode at the end of hockey playoffs, and then coming back with a new golf season in September. So it's an exciting sport to launch, and I think there's going to be a lot of crossover interest between people that enjoy fantasy hockey and hockey in the real world, as well as all the golf fans out there. There's a ton of golf fans that follow pro golf, and again, this is going to be the most realistic golf fantasy league that you could ever imagine. So if you like golf, if you've ever been in a fantasy golf league, this is going to be next level fantasy golf.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, probably many people did notice that Tiger Woods was in the opening video. And we are, of course, wishing Tiger very well in his recovery from his unfortunate car accident. But, many people are going to be thinking, why golf too? We're very confident with the template we've built to try, and do an individual sport. We want to do all sports, not only team sports, but individual sports, but with all the features of franchise ownership, scouting, just like the UFHL. So this is going to be, it has a great fit, Larry, in itself.
It does. And you mentioned it, golf is widely known as an individual sport. Of course, they have the Ryder Cup and some international events where they are as a team. But in fantasy golf, it is franchise type format. So in the UFGA, the Ultimate Franchise Golf Association, you will initially be purchasing a franchise with one franchise player attached, and then you'll be drafting the rest of the roster after you've been a successful bidder in the franchise auction. And so we can't wait to launch the franchise auction. We're targeting August 8th, which will be following the final round of the St. Jude Classic on August 8th, which is a big golf event. All the world's elite golfers will be there. So between now and August 8th, we'll be lining up a bunch of interested franchise owners for golf. And hopefully there will be a good crossover from our hockey owners, as well as a ton of new interest, because again, NFTs are all the rage right now, and we think this is going to be a big hit in the golf community.
Yeah, it's just another, important aspect of what UFFS is all about, of course, and now the UFGA. I have to get used to saying that one now. Another new, acronym to add to the vocabulary. So franchise auction August 8th, player or roster draft, going to follow that. Top prospect auction, then open market scouting. So if we talk about the scouting, is this something, Larry, do you think that, if I was to ask the question, what should people be getting prepared for with the UFGA? Would that be one of the things that you would suggest?
Yeah, well, certainly with scouting, the cool thing is if you already have a scouting agency on the platform, maybe you're scouting hockey in the present because that's the sport that's offered. If you like golf as well, or if you want to hire a golf scout underneath, you're more than welcome to do that. But you can, once you're registered as a scout and as a scouting agency on the UFFS platform, you can scout for every sport. So certainly you want to be paying attention to who's the up and coming golfers. If you are a scout or interested scout, recruiting some scouts. But first and foremost, the franchise auction will be the marquee event on August 8th. However many franchises we auction off, that'll be what really launches golf. And then from there, like you said, we'll be drafting rosters. And then from there, you'll be doing the top prospects will be auctioned off to both franchises and scouts. And following that, all the scouts will hit the open market, and it's first come, first serve, finders, keepers. If you find the next top golf prospect, you'll be able to eventually sell that prospect to a franchise the same way it works in the Ultimate Fantasy Hockey League. So the scouting side of our platform is real revolutionary, and it's going to be much the same for golf as it is for hockey. A lot of this will be crossover between hockey and golf as far as the concepts and the vision of the platform.
Yeah, and I'm not one of those analytical type guys where I get into knowing all the players of every sport. I like my teams. I like my favorite players. I'm not like an encyclopedia type guy like you, but I just did a thing. I thought, well, I'm going to go see, maybe who the top 100 golfers are in the world. And I went on the official World of Golf ranking. There was 1,000 players on there that are currently playing right now in the world, Larry. I was astounded. I have to say, I didn't know that there was that many to choose from, to be honest. This is going to be really exciting.
And that's who we're appealing to. We're appealing to those encyclopedias, to those hardcore golf fans who have never seen a league to this depth. There are some fantasy golf isn't huge, but there are some fantasy golf leagues out there where you draft a couple golfers or you pick who's going to win the tournament each week kind of thing. But this, with the depth and the ability to scout the next generation, the next Tiger Woods, is going to be huge. And certainly for the franchise auction, we're going to determine who the most valuable golfers are, not only for the scoring system that we'll have in the UFGA, but certainly when you talk NFT value and we're talking Tiger Woods, we've seen an expansion franchise in the UFHL, our equivalent of the NHL league, sell for $10,000 USD. So, and that's with getting, I don't want to say the leftover players, but, all the current UFHL franchises will be able to protect between 8 and 11 players. Here, you're getting the best of the best for the golf franchises. And so it's going to be exciting to see what those golf franchises sell for on August 8th. And I think there's going to be a lot of hype between now and August to tee it up with the UFGA.
Come tee it up with us. Drive for show, play for dough, as we say. We will have prize pools available. And, of course, there's going to be the evaluation of the franchise ownership, just, like what we had in the UFHL. Of course, we already had the new owners of franchise number 32 selling for $10,000 US. And we do fully expect to see some pretty good numbers come our way when we do the auction here in the UFGA. So, there was one thing. We had a contest going, of course. We talked about it for quite some time. And we said, what sport are we going to do? I think a lot of people knew about it, and we had people submit their guesses. Larry, I think you took some names in on some of the right answers there and maybe threw them in a hat. So if you wouldn't mind, I'll do the draw if you'll pass the hat over to me.
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Geez, I really had to reach. You're not all that close to me, so it was quite a reach. But I thank you, Larry, for putting the names in the hat. These, of course, would be the correct winners. I shouldn't look. I should do it up here of who guessed the sport. And I'm going to pull out a name out of my trusty UFFS cap. And let's see who it is. Well, look at that. We have Arnie Entz of the Royals Pipeline Prospects. Congratulations, Arnie. Arnie, well, you know Arnie very well, but Arnie's going to get, a blanket, I believe, logo of his choice from the UFHL shop. So congratulations to Arnie. I think you know Arnie very well there, Larry.
I do. I assume Arnie's a pretty big golf fan as well. So, and like I said, Pipeline Prospects, that's one thing with these scouting agencies. A lot of them didn't attach themselves to hockey. Pipeline Prospects can be any sport. So whether Arnie's scouting golf or whether he's bringing on a golf scout underneath the Pipeline Prospects banner, I'm sure Arnie's happy to have guessed golf, and I'm sure he's excited to get a scout under Pipeline Prospects, start eyeing up the future talent in the golf world.
Yeah, you bet. So, that we've announced a few things that we can certainly talk about. We announced the date of the franchise auction, the steps of the process. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton of questions once people have figured out what we're doing here. There's many, many, many details to be worked out. And I can assure you that we have a lot of these details, basically figured out. But there's some things we just want to make sure that we have the actual dates and we have it refined enough to let everybody know. So we might not have all your specific answers for you right away, but the details are sure to come. We've got a lot of time between now and August 8th, and there's many podcasts in between. So I can assure anybody that we will have the answers for you. But feel free to be excited along with us. This is a huge day for us. And we're pretty darn excited. Larry, if I'm interested in the UFGA, what should I start doing if I'm, I'm a golf fanatic, or even if I just understand NFTs and cryptocurrency, what should I be thinking about?
Especially if this is the first time you've heard of UFF Sports, Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports. The first step I would recommend following at UFF Sports on Twitter, and the DMs are always open. Shoot us a DM. We'll invite you to the Telegram chat, to the Telegram groups. There'll be a golf-specific group firing up here in the next day, or possibly even later tonight, that everybody can join and get some interest going. And then from there, you'll have to decide, do you want to be a franchise owner? Do you want to be a scout? Do you want to be a GM? There'll be opportunities for everybody who's interested in golf. We'll find a fit for you in the UFGA. So first things first, just get your foot in the door. Be a part of the UFFS community. Follow the accounts on Twitter. Obviously, there's at UFGA_UFFS. That'll have all the golf news between now and October, or between now and August 8th. So you'll be able to see what's coming up next. And certainly Telegram's the place to be for all things UFFS. So come join the community and have fun along with us. It's going to be a wild ride between now and August.
Yeah, and Larry, we had it on the sidebar. All our Twitter pages were all listed there. There's many. Follow all of them. There's little tidbits you can get from the whole thing and understand. If you haven't been following us and just what's involved in this elite fantasy platform. The other thing, I probably don't talk about enough is our unique and awesome partnership with Zilliqa, the best blockchain company in the world. I saw it, go across on the ticker below. Of course, this is going to run on the Zilliqa blockchain as well. And, these are just phenomenal people to work with, Larry. And I know that you have some firsthand experience with that.
Yeah, shout out to Cyan and the Zilliqa development team. They are building the platform for us in the background. We're planning to launch the platform here in March, in the coming days, coming weeks. So that part of it is super exciting. And obviously the golf league will be right there alongside the two hockey leagues. So Zilliqa is doing an amazing job with the development side of the platform, and that's going to be next level as well. Everything about UFF Sports is going to be next level, and really the future of fantasy, which is sort of our one of our slogans is "You own the game," which is so true with NFTs and digital asset ownership, and the other part of it is the future of fantasy, the fantasy gameplay, which gives your NFTs utility within the game to have fun and to be entertainment, but also to win prize money and generate revenue as you go, while holding that NFT as a collectible. So it's kind of bringing the best of both worlds, the sports world and the crypto world together. And I think it's really taking off, especially with like I said, the NFTs and blockchain and cryptocurrency booming right now. There's a ton of interest, and there's going to be a bit of a learning curve when that platform launches for people that don't come from a crypto background. But I think the adoption is going to be an easy sell, especially with all the potential going forward for both UFF Sports as well as the Zilliqa blockchain, which is emerging as the best option out there. And we're thrilled to have that partnership with Zilliqa.
Yeah, and anybody can take the time. I've done it many times. You just Google Zilliqa and you'll get their webpage if you want to see what they're all about. Some brilliant people involved in Zilliqa. So thank you, Zilliqa, for being an amazing partner with us. And, I think that almost is a wrap for today's podcast. A very, very busy day. I also, what I should say is I should direct everybody to go check out your sneak peek of the platform, which is on the UFSN network, which we are operating on. I want to thank our guests, of course, Darwin, Drew, and Brennan. This is Baits and Fish signing off for the Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports, where you own the game.
This has been the UFFS Podcast with Darren Bates and Larry Fisher. Get in the game where you own the game at www.uffsports.com.